guys hear that? Oh, hold on. Jody's calling me. Give me a second. What's up? I'm live.
Okay. I'm sending you the tier list right now. It's in your DMs.
Okay, all Pokemon available in Scarlet and Violet. Let's see. It's in my DMs. Let's see if this is a good tier list or if it's trash. Oh, this is the exact one I was about to use. Cool. Very helpful, Jody. Everyone, clap for Jody.
Wahoo, that's me. I'm Jody Azzarelli of the X3 podcast, which we will have to record later today.
We will record later today. All right. I'm gonna get this going. All right. Thank you, sir. Goodbye. Okay. Thank you for clapping for Jody. Let me also update the name of this. Non-restricted Reg G tier list. Okay. So we're doing the non-restricted Reg G tier list. S, the meta evolves around these. Top tier support build around. Solid options, they need a little more support. Okay, role players and mediocre options. Bad, not worth consideration. Okay, cool. That feels good enough. We'll use this standard. This channel is partnered with GamerSupps. If you want to support my work and get great tasting drinks, you can order GamerSupps through my link in the description down below or with code Moxie boosted at checkout for 10% off. GamerSupps is a caffeinated product that I recommend only to my 18+ viewers, but my link will send you to their caffeine-free product section just in case. Every product purchased through my link supports my channel financially, so I'd really appreciate the support. Now back to the video. This is gonna take a while. Dang, it's already. We're gonna try to get this done in 40 minutes, chat. Are you doing a tier list? You gotta put Incineroar, Urshifu, Rabbit Strike, Rillaboom, Raging Bolt, S tier. Everyone else, that's true. That's true. Here, let's do the top tiers first. Let's do the top tier. I love making tier list videos because there's always someone in the comments when I make a tier list video, and they're like, "You don't get it. Dynamo is actually really good," because Pokemon is one of the few games where you are told like the power of friendship is better than playing competitively, and you know that's how it works in the story, but in the real world, Timmy, you're gonna get absolutely bodied by Urshifu. I feel bad for your Dynamo. He deserves better if you're putting him up against Urshifu Rapid Strike. So I'm just saying, you know, if you're playing in a tournament, usually you want to use the best Pokemon, and usually you can get away with running Pokemon that aren't the best if they fill a specific role, which this tier list will take into account. We will be talking about different roles that something might fill. Even if they're like not great, they might be able to do something, you know? So let's get the top tiers out of the way, and this is gonna take a minute. So luckily this is all in order. The first one I want to take is Incineroar. Where are you, buddy? Okay, so Incineroar, top tier Pokemon, meta revolves around him. Let me open up Pokemon Showdown so we can get this too. New box. Regulation G. Incineroar. So Incineroar is a top tier because it has access to Fake Out, it has access to Knockoff, it has access to Will-O-Wisp, it has access to Snarl, it has access to U-Turn, it has access to Parting Shot, it has access to Intimidate, it has access to Taunt, it has access to Throat Chop, they gave this mon everything. There's nothing left to say. He's got bulk out the wazoo. He's good. Next one. Let's get the original starter trio out of the way. Let's get Urshifu. Now, there's only one Urshifu on this list. This represents Urshifu Rapid Strike. I think Urshifu Single Strike's A tier. It's a good Pokemon. It has unblockable moves, literally unblockable. Surging Strikes crits every single turn, so you're able to bypass a lot of defensive counterplay. It's one of the most strong Pokemon ever created. And I mean, you know, base 98 speed, 97, I always forget. Yeah, base 97 speed. You're able to Scarf it with an Adamant Nature, and it outspeeds Calyrex Shadow, which is really all you need for. So now you can go Adamant Terra Water. Very good Pokemon. All right, Rillaboom. Where are you, Mr. Boom? There you go. Rillaboom. Yet another. These aren't ranked within the tiers, by the way. I'm going to throw that out there. Not ranking them within the tiers. You got to put the face cam in the top right, covering the cat's beautiful face. It's not covering anything. Oh, I guess. Hold on. There you go. All right, fixed it. I was on the wrong scene. All right. Also pivoting's broken. Just gotta throw it out there. And Rillaboom is just grass and Incineroar without Intimidate. They gave it Fake Out U-Turn, grassy terrain for recovery for the whole team. Pairs well with Zamazenta, pairs well with Kyogre, pairs well with Koraidon, Groudon. It doesn't pair with Miraidon. That's the one exception. And yeah, it's able to provide recovery for the team with grassy terrain. It's able to provide Fake Out support, pivoting, knockoff if you really want to, and just huge burst damage like Miracle Seed, grassy terrain, Wood Hammer. So many qualifiers for that move. It's busted. All right. So let's just go down the list now. If I don't mention a Pokemon, I'm going to be very brief with a lot of these Pokemon. From this point on, now that I've mentioned a lot of the top tiers, a lot of people get upset. Marcos, why don't you go in depth with why Blastoise is in the ranking it is? And the reason it's in the ranking it is because Blastoise is below average and there's not much data. And if you want to prove me wrong, go ahead, right? I love when people get mad at me at that. I think that Venusaur is okay. Sleep Powder, Sludge Bomb, Chlorophyll, very good combo. It's not like a solid support option, but it is kind of the support in itself. We saw it top cut or even top 8 the VR tour this weekend with Koraidon. So Sleep isn't going anywhere. And it's always going to be a threat and restricted. I can tell you that. Okay. Next up is Charizard. It's mediocre. You're going to run it on Sun, Solar Power, Choice Scarf, Heat Wave. That's all it's going to do. It's not going to do much. Blastoise is also pretty mediocre. Keep in mind, most Pokemon will fall between C and D tier. I'm going to throw that out there. It's pretty mediocre. It has access to like Yawn, Fake Out, Hydro Pump, Water Spout, but there are many Pokemon that do its role better. Hey, Cat Dog. That's what it is. Cat Doggy. Thank you for making sitting in a tractor at work so much more enjoyable. Hey, I appreciate you. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed the content. If they gave Blastoise Intimidate, it would be Water Incineroar. Because it has Fake Out, it has Flip Turn, it's got Bulk, it's got Yawn, it's got cool support options, but it doesn't have Intimidate. So there's no reason to really run it over many of the other water types in the metagame. Yes, you can get some value out of it with Yawn, Fake Out, but Yawn, Fake Out, Icy Wind, Helping Hand, there's a few things it can do, but it's not really a top tier, and nor is it really as good as Venusaur. It's just going to be mediocre. By the way, mediocre, a lot of people think is bad. Mediocre is not bad. It is mediocre. The best way to describe mediocre is when you make peanut butter cookies at home from a bag, you eat them and you enjoy them. You go, yummy, but they're like mediocre, you know, they're not the best, you know? F tier is like the Jewel Osco, Walmart, like I'm trying to go with all of the regional stores. Jewel Osco, Walmart, Giant, Kmart, Fresh Time, World Market. Those are like the cookies that you get from there that look like they aren't baked. They kind of look like they're made out of Play-Doh. That's F tier. All right, but they do hit sometimes. They hit when I was younger. They don't hit anymore. Speaking of which, you don't do much. Raichu is okay. I mean, it's the same level of Venusaur. It's got Fake Out, Nuzzle, Lightning Rod. Alolan Raichu I put slightly below it, almost exclusively because it doesn't have Lightning Rod. Like Lightning Rod's actually a huge boon for Raichu. And yeah, it used to have Follow Me. Yeah, if Blastoise still had Follow Me, it'd be good. All right, Sandshrew, not even worth it. These guys just, they're not fast enough. They're not strong enough. There are Pokemon that do their role better. And on top of that, Sandslash requires you run a Sand team, which, are you really going to run a Sand team in a restricted format? Not really. Ninetales, there's better options. If you want a Sunsetter, you run Torkoal, but because it has Sun, it's not F tier. Alolan Ninetales, I'll put it there. It's good for Kyurem and exclusively Kyurem. It's very niche, so you can make use out of it. Wigglytuff, you can do competitive stuff. It's a wall to Calyrex, but not like a hard wall. It's not that bulky, so that's certainly an option. Vileplume is in a similar boat. It's just worse Venusaur. Venomoth, pretty bad. Dugtrio, pretty bad. Alolan Dugtrio, somehow even worse. Persian is just a normal type with no swag. I would put Alolan Persian a little bit higher because it's got like Fake Out knockoff. Immune to Prankster. That's pretty decent. And Fur Coat makes it like a bulky, fast Pokemon. It was actually pretty solid in VGC 2017, which I really miss when it was like that. Okay. Golduck, that is just mediocre Swift Swim. You can do way better. Not even going to rank Primeape. You're not fully evolved anymore. Arcanine, it's D tier. I'm going to put Hisui and Arcanine in C tier. It's just better Arcanine. You do have more weaknesses. But like Rock Slide, Extreme Speed off a 110 attack, or 115 attack, that's pretty solid. It's also an Intimidate Mon. You have like Will-O-Wisp. You have a bunch of options. Hisui and Arcanine, genuinely like one of the better Pokemon introduced into Generation 8/9, you know, Legends. But in Generation 9 is the first time you could play in VGC. So genuinely very happy with where he's sitting in the metagame right now. Even though he's not great, you can certainly make a case for him. Poliwrath, that is another mediocre Swift Swimmer. I mean, it's mediocre as a Swift Swimmer, but Swift Swim is a mediocre niche right now, so it's like bad. It's bad because it's mediocre at being mediocre. Same with Victory Bell. It doesn't do much. I wish it did. You don't do like anything in this metagame. These guys, we are speed running through Gen 1. Holy. Trick Room actually makes this guy kind of worth running. Same with this guy. Oh, not that guy. Same with this guy. You know, you can get away with it. Gengar, it's definitely another mediocre. I told you, most of them are going to fall in D tier. Yeah, like Gengar is just like Sash Trick Room. Like that's the most you're going to get out of it. Sash, Isu, and Sash Trick Room. Completely outclassed by Fluttermane, like in every way, shape, and form. Next up is Dodrio. Bad, not worth it. Dugong. It has Fake Out Perish Song and Flip Turn. Go for it. Like it's unironically better than everything down here because it has tools that other Pokemon do not. And that's really what's going to put it in D tier. Not a single B or A tier yet. Muck. Not really worth it. Alolan Muck. It can do minimize stuff. There you go. Where are we at? Hypno. That's not worth it at all. Electrode. Genuinely just a pretty bad Pokemon. I would put Hisui and Electrode above it just because the grass immunity makes it a little bit more manageable. And you have less weaknesses, I think. No, you have more weaknesses because you're grass now, but you're able to resist a lot more. So. You skipped Clefairy? Oh, I did skip Clefairy. Clefairy is a B tier. I'm not gonna put it A tier. I think it's a solid B tier. Friend Guard, Follow Me, Icy Wind, Helping Hand. It's seen on a lot of Cali Shadow teams right now. It is genuinely a very good unevolved Pokemon because of Eviolite and Friend Guard, which it loses upon evolving. By the way, I have to throw you in D tier. You're just mediocre. But yeah, no, Clefairy genuinely very good. Helps keep you restricted alive. Thank you for whoever pointed that out. Someone would have commented about that and I would have gotten more interactions. What a shame. Executor, it's Chlorophyll Sleep Powder. This one doesn't even have Chlorophyll. It's D tier. And yeah, Intimidate Tauros. That's also D tier. Electabuzz, C tier. Unironically, a good Follow Me user. As much as I hate to admit it, access to Paralysis, Vital Spirit, Follow Me makes it a pretty decent mon in the format. And the same goes for you, but you're a little worse because you don't have like Paralysis or anything. You're going to be D tier. Also, you're weak to Urshifu, which is bad. That's a bad thing if you didn't know. Hitmonchan, Hitmonlee, they're pretty bad. They're just mediocre fighting types. Weezing. I actually think Weezing's a solid option. C tier is definitely where it sits for me. It's able to turn off abilities. It's very niche. You know what? I'm going to put it here. I think Weezing's criminally underrated the more I think about it. It's able to support a good amount of Pokemon. A lot of Restricteds really need their abilities, but the Pokemon that it does support pretty well are Pokemon that don't care too much about their abilities. It's going to be like Calyrex Shadow, Calyrex Ice, because guess what? Their abilities stay active. It doesn't matter. I think that it is good, but only on those two archetypes in the same way that Clefairy is. You know what I mean? Also, Taunts. Awesome. Galarian Weezing, I'll put right, just C tier. There you go. Chansey, it doesn't do anything anymore. It used to be the minimize bot. Now it's no longer the minimize bot. All of the Tauros, except for Tauros Water, I think. Actually, no, I'll put them there. Intimidate, Will-O-Wisp, Intimidate, Kyogre Resist. They're whatever. You can get away with it. You can get away with it for sure. Gyarados is also going to be going in. I think Gyarados could still be good. It's Thunder Wave, Waterfall. I think it's just in this format. Actually, Gyarados is kind of cracked. Intimidate, Thunderwave, Waterfall, Taunt. It can still do everything it has been since the start of the game in 2023. It's just not really in demand right now. I think it's still like around that same level of viability though. It used to be a top tier. Now it's like, you know, there are other water types you want. But Gyarados, genuinely, you can make use for it somewhere. Where are you? Where are we at? We are at Lapras. Lapras is, I mean, Icy Wind, but yeah, it's not great. All of the evolutions, unironically, like F tier, they're just not good. They don't do anything in the metagame. They're outclassed by everything. Belly Drum Snorlax is certainly a niche. Articuno. Articuno's Blizzard spam. It's not as bad as it was before. We know Terra Ice Blizzard can do stuff, but you're probably going to want to cure him anyways. This guy's also Trick Room bot. You could make a case for Zapdos, but it's not as good as it used to be. It's just like bulkier Tornado or bulkier Thunderous with no Prankster. And that's basically it. I don't know. It's kind of interesting. You get like Roost if you really wanted to, but it was probably better in previous formats. Raging Bolt also makes it difficult to justify running. Galarian Zapdos, actually very good. Funny enough, pretty good Pokemon. Maybe not there. Maybe I throw it in here, right? You know. But Galarian Zapdos being able to run coaching and, you know, work on like Trick Room teams with like Macho Brace, actually a very cool niche for it. I enjoy it quite a bit. And you can protect it with Psychic Train if you're on like Iron Ball. Ditto. Ditto is C tier. Definitely C tier. Not as good as like the rest of these mons, but it can certainly function in the metagame. It just copies other restricteds. Moltres, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Galarian Moltres, pretty decent. It's good on Zamazenta teams. It's able to deal with Terra Ghost and Incineroar quite well. All right. I also almost forgot Dragonite. Dragonite's it's not as good as it used to be. I think we're gonna throw it. It's because Chien-Pao's not as good as it used to be, so Dragonite's not as good as it used to be. Like, if Chien-Pao's run on a team, it's usually run with Zamazenta now, so it's kind of hard to justify the Dragonite. We'll just throw it like C tier. By the way, they're not organized within tiers, but sometimes I'll throw something in the middle of the tier to recognize that it's probably a little better than the other ones. No, it's more of a gesture. Mewtwo. Not fully evolved. We'll throw him in not fully evolved. We're not ranking the restricted, but I just want to throw him in there. I need to disrespect Mewtwo. Meganium, genuinely one of the worst Pokemon in the metagame. Same goes for Typhlosion, but Scarf Eruption could certainly be an option, so we'll throw him in there. For Alligator, no, it's not worth it. You know, setup takes too long. It's a setup mon. You need to set up Dragon Dance, and like, why would you set up Dragon Dance when you can click Body Press, you know? You can just click Body Press on something. All right, Sentret, it's bad. It's got Follow Me though. It's kind of cool. Same with Noctowl. Lantern, yeah, you're not doing anything. Ampharos is not doing anything. Blossom, no, it's not. There's so many. Gen 2 is genuinely one of the weakest generations ever. It's actually really funny. Azu, that's going to be D tier. You can get away with it. It's a water type. I would rather run Urshifu most of the time, but if you want something that beats Urshifu, that is also a water type, that's certainly an option. It's also quite bulky. Where are we? Sudowoodo is one of the worst Pokemon ever, competitively. Politoed, it is mediocre. There are better rain setters. You want Pelipper. You want Pelipper. Like, if Politoed genuinely a D tier Pokemon, where Pelipper is probably B tier, if not A tier. Let's see. I mean, it's got Sleep Powder. We'll throw it there. Whatever. We know it can cook. It's won a regional. Ariados, almost forgot about you. Just throw you there. By the way, if you see a Pokemon not ranked, it usually means because it's bad, and I don't think it's worth it. Quagsire's quite bad. These guys have Trick Room options. You can get away with it. Like, if you're a bulky Trick Room setter, you can get away with it almost every time. Fortress, there's no point in running it in this metagame. It just gets blown up. Defensive Pokemon that gets blown up, not even worth it. Where are we? Bramble doesn't do anything. Scizor, we can put it in D tier. It's just like a bullet punch sword stance bot. It doesn't do anything that great. There's not a high demand for it. I'm sorry, Heracross, you're also F tier. I wish it was good. I love Heracross. Espeon, not worth running. There are better psychic types. Umbreon, actually, C tier. Yawn, Foul Play, Snarl, quite a good Pokemon. It's got a lot of options going for it. All right. Murkrow, you mediocre Tailwind setter. You want Tornadus or Whimsicott. There are better ones. Okay. Where are we? We are at Magcargo. You get blown up. If you get blown up and do nothing, you're automatic D tier. You don't even get to play the game, is the issue. If a Pokemon doesn't get to play the game, it doesn't get to be ranked higher than D tier. All right, Skarmory, you get blown up as well. Just run Corviknight if you want to do something weird like that. Houndour gets blown up. I guess you could do like Sash Nasty Plot, but it's not as good as those other mons. They don't actually do anything. All right, Kingdra. One of the better Swift Stim Pokemon. We'll put him in D tier. Put him in D tier. If I could grab multiple of these, I'd throw them all in like F tier real quick, just to clean up the board. Donphan, that's a pretty easy D tier. Porygon 2. Mediocre, but it is a Trick Room setter. You could definitely make a case for it with Calyrex Ice. Also, Terra Dark Foul Play is like pretty decent. Smeargle. That is a... I'm gonna put it B tier. It's good. It's not A tier. A tier's kind of reserved for everything that is like awesome, but not these guys. I don't see anything else going in S tier. I mean, Smeargle obviously fake out Wide Guard, Spore. It has access to the whole everything. Next up we have Hitmontop. It's definitely like a D tier mediocre. Fake out, Wide Guard, close combat's pretty alright, but it doesn't do much beyond that. Raikou. These guys just based off of stats, like Raikou will go up there. I think that Entei's actually not the best, but still very good. Like top is C tier. Sacred Fire, Extreme Speed, Terra Normal. You can still make it work. It's about as viable as the rest of these guys. Like you can put it on a team and it'll do just fine. Same with Suicune. Same with Suicune. It's about there. You know, Snarl, Tailwind, Icy Wind. Tyranitar. I mean, it's T-Tar. You can probably put it on something. It's never going to be lower than D. Sorry, I kept saying D tier while putting stuff in F tier. I meant F tier. I forgot I had something as low as F. Not ranking the restricteds. Sceptile has some sauce, but not a lot. You know, it's a fast grass type. Same with Blaziken, not a lot of sauce, but you can do something with it. It's got the stats and ability for it. And Swampert has it does have Wide Guard and Yawn and stuff, so you can make a case. Certainly make a case. Totemax, thanks so much for the sub. Appreciate you. Raikou, I tried to use this, just awkward. Scald is good on it. Outside of that, T-Bolt Aura Sphere doesn't do much. Yeah, it's not the best. It's not the best. Blissey's, it doesn't do anything. F tier it goes. Forgot about that, mon. Mightyena, yeah, I mean, you have Intimidate, but you know, what are you doing with that stat? One of the better Swift Swim users. It also has Fake Out. We'll throw you up there. Shiftry, same vibe. You have Fake Out, Tailwind. It'll do something. Pelipper, that is our first A tier. Pelipper is really good. Wide Guard, Drizzle, Weather Ball, Hurricane. It's got pretty decent defensive stats. It can tank Glacial Lance pretty well. It can tank like Surging Strikes. Sash is probably one of the better items for it. You can even get away with like Rocky Helmet or Safety Goggles if you really want to. But it's good for Tailwind. It's really good for keeping your Zamazenta alive and like blocking just like Water Spouts and like Astral Barrages and Glacial Lances. There's a lot of value to this guy. There's no doubt there's a reason that won like the international championships this year. Next up, where are we at? Gardevoir. You don't get to play the game. Doesn't even do anything. Plusle and Minun, once again, Pokemon that don't play the game. Volbeat and Illumise, they're prankster Pokemon, so by default, they're able to go up to D tier. You can, like, do Sash prankster stuff. Masquerain, it's got Intimidate. It doesn't play the game, though. Breloom, by virtue of being a fast Spore user, is automatic D tier, but you're just going to do Sash Spore every single time, and that's not going to get too much value. Next up is Slacking. That is going to be a D tier just because I know that you can get KOs and cheese people with Wheezing, but like beyond that, there's not much. Hariyama, for the same reason, D tier. It's got Fake Out, it's got Guts, so you're never going to be able to be Spored or whatever. Missed an entire row, I'll go back and get it. Did I? I don't think I missed an entire row. All right, I guess I missed the ending of this row. Metacham, it's just whatever. I mean, like, you can nuke some stuff with High Jump Kick, I guess. It's got a really good attack stat with Pure Power. Camerupt is pretty bad. I wish it was good. I wish they gave Drought to Camerupt instead of Torkoal, to be honest. Torkoal, that is going to be a... I'm putting C tier. Like, Torkoal can work well with Cali Ice, but it's not, like, phenomenal. Not phenomenal in this format with so much weather control. But I suppose it's decent into some matchups. Altaria... Oh, wait, we have to start here. Swalot does not play the game at all. Not bulky enough to do what it wants to do. Not enough stats. It just doesn't have, like, moves either. It's pretty bad. Same to Grumpig, as much as I love this mon. Next up. Flygon. It hurts to put you in F tier. You do nothing, bro. 100 base speed. Best you can do is set up Tailwind for me, and that's it. Altaria. Same, just F tier. You could use it to turn off weather, but it's not really worth it. Just use like Kyogre or some weather control or something. To turn off like sun. Because you mostly want to turn off sun. Just use Rayquaza. Budget Rayquaza. Let's see. Next, we are at Zangoose and Seviper. You guys will remain fighting in F tier. You guys just don't play the game at all. Oh, Sableye. Sableye is going to be a solid D tier. Not really C tier, but like you can do like Fake Out Will-O-Wisp stuff with him. He's pretty decent. You can get away with it. Milotic, same deal, like D tier. It was probably C tier and like Reg F if you really want to make the argument. But nowadays there's just too much going on. Like if you can't do coil hypnosis like you used to. It's not really, there's not really a lot of room for setup in this format with everything getting nuked. All right. Cacturn, you are F tier. Where are we at? Just a Cacturn. Whiscash, you are also F tier. You just don't play the game. Absolutely nuked. Groudon. You can do like Sash, Knockoff, Adaptability, Aqua Jet. I'll put him D tier. Dusclops, D tier in that there are better options for Trick Room setters nowadays, but it's still quite good. Tropius does not play the game. Chimecho does not play the game. Glalie does not play the game. Gen 3 has a big issue with mid-mons. A lot of mons in Gen 3 just aren't that strong nowadays. You can use like Intimidate Tailwind on Salamence, but there's not a lot of value there. It just doesn't do much. There's better Intimidate mons, there's better Tailwind mons, and the roll compression ain't really worth it when you can just run Incineroar and Tornadus and get more value. Oh yeah, Bayonet, F tier. It literally does nothing. There's not a single niche Bayonet fills. I've tried. One of my favorite Pokemon does not fill a niche. But D tier for you. You're like a mini Solgaleo, but no one really wants Solgaleo anyway, so you don't have a lot of high demand. Regirock, yeah, it's going to be a D tier. Regice is going to be an F tier. And I'm going to go ahead and throw Registeel. Surprisingly high. At C tier. You can still get away with like bulk sets. I've seen it happen. It's still a fine Pokemon. It's just not in high demand. You just go Iron Defense, Body Press, leftovers. I once also run Electric Seed, and they said like it was Electric Seed Terra Fighting, and they're like, this is my Wish.com Zamazenta, and I thought that was pretty funny. I faced that in a tournament. Latios, D tier, Latios. I'm gonna go ahead and throw C tier almost exclusively because it does have a couple of results, and because Tailwind and Terra Steel, it does stuff. It doesn't do a lot though. Torterra, you don't play the game, bro. By virtue of Fake Out, you get to be D tier, but nothing else. And Empoleon, another Pokemon that doesn't play the game. But Moxie boosted, you can click Yawn. Shut up. Staraptor, Scarf Final Gambit's certainly an option. Kricketune, you just don't play the game at all. Luxray, Intimidate, but one of the worst Intimidate mons in the game. Rampardos does not play the game. I wish it did. It could nuke stuff with Terra Rock Head Smash, but it just doesn't. Bastiodon, yet another Pokemon that doesn't play the game. We're at Vespiquen. Pretty bad. Just doesn't have the stats to make anything work, nor does it have the moves. Pachirisu. It's a D tier. I mean, like, it's got Follow Me, Volt Absorb, which is pretty good in a Miraidon, and even with Miraidon, but it's just like, there are better options, you know. I'd rather run like Pawmod or I don't think Pachirisu gets Fake Out, right? No, it doesn't. It gets Follow Me though. But yeah, I'd rather have like a Fake Out mon like Pawmod or Raichu any day, especially since they get abilities that also make them immune. You also are just pretty bad. Gastrodon, certainly an option. I think that it's good on certain teams, but it's pretty underdeveloped. Oh, we're going to put it in C tier. Just because it has the water redirection built into it and Yawn and Ice Beam. It's never going to be that bad. It usually makes a splash at Worlds. Like, usually Gastrodon has a pretty deep run. We are at Ambipom. You are just Fake Out, I guess, whatever. And just throw you in there. Miss May just completely outclassed. Drift Bloom completely outclassed. Haunch Crow just not good at all. Skuntank, once again, just not very great. Gen 4 really slacking right now. Bronzong, pretty decent mon. I'm gonna throw it in C tier because I actually think it's pretty underdeveloped. I think that you can get away with it in more ways than one. It plays as like an Iron Defense body press bot, but it also is a Trick Room setter. It also has gravity. There's a few things it can do. I just don't think there's high demand for it is the issue. But it's certainly not D tier. Let's see. Spiritomb. It's just, it has nothing. F tier. And then Garchomp. It's got stats and that's it. There's no demand for Garchomp in the metagame right now. It loses to every restricted. Literally every restricted. I don't think there's a single restricted that Garchomp beats. Yeah, Miraidon beats it. Calyrex beats it. Both Calyrex beat it. Kyogre beats it. Groudon beats it. Koraidon beats it. Rayquaza beats it even. Wow, unironically one of the worst Pokemon in the format. How do you do that? There's usually at least a Pokemon that you do well into that's like restricted no matter what Pokemon you are, but wow. Okay. It just has stats. That's all it has. Which you can get away with, but too many resources. You would have to like Terra and stuff. Lucario, Sash, Follow Me, Inner Focus. Close combat. It's pretty okay. Hippowdon, once again, just okay. You know, Yawn is pretty okay. Toxicroak does have some utility, but not enough to justify putting it higher than D tier. Fake Out, Sucker Punch, Gunk Shot, and Dry Skin is a pretty decent combo into Kyogre. But Sun is very good, so you're pretty much never going to be in Rain. Unless you're running Kyogre yourself. You're D tier. You're just worse than Alolan Ninetales is the only issue. Weavile, D tier by virtue of like worse than Shenpao, but it has Fake Out. Lumineon, that's just an F tier. Magnezone, Sturdy's okay. We'll put you in D tier. You are also probably not that great. Like you have Lightning Rod, you can like Terra Fairy or whatever to like be completely immune to Miraidon, but that's it. You are a matchup. You're a matchup fisher and nothing else. Yeah, you're also pretty bad. No, not really much going on there. Same with Magmortar. These guys are pretty clearly F tier, unfortunately. We're not even halfway done with this list. And I'm getting a headache. Yanmega, F tier. F tier. Glaceon doesn't do anything, F tier. Gliscor, I wish you were good, bro. You're so cool, but you just don't do much. Okay. Like, what do you do? Like, you tailwinds and you, like, stall, but then you drop to 1 hit because there are, like, busted special attackers in this format. Mamoswine's actually pretty decent. Oblivious makes it immune to Intimidate and stuff, but it's not really any higher than D tier. I'll put it, like, higher D tier. Porygon Z, it's, like, the same boat as Mamoswine. Hits hard. Certainly a nuke, but not really, like, the best for most archetypes. Gallade, unironically, quite a good Pokemon. C tier. Wide Guard, it's got Inner Focus, or not Inner Focus, Wide Guard, Clear Amulet, Trick Room, Sacred Sword, Psycho Cut with Sharpness is a really good combo. It hits extremely hard. It's an Incineroar check. It's able to chunk a lot of things with that Sacred Sword, and it's able to beat Zamazenta pretty reliably, so very good Pokemon in the metagame, but not like any higher than C. All right. Not ranking restricteds. Oh wait, Probopass. So bad. Probopass is so bad. Put him up there. Where'd I put him? Dust Noir is also F tier. Worse than Dusclops because no Eviolite. All right, Frostlass also F tier. Doesn't do anything. Do I have to rank all the Rotoms? F tier. F tier. D tier. F tier. F tier. Okay. I'm not going to go in depth with that. There's too much there. Oh, and you're probably D tier as well. I think's pretty good. Okay. None of these guys have any aura whatsoever. They just don't do anything in the metagame. Okay, made it out of Generation 4. Almost, actually. We have to do Heatran. It's fine. It's whatever. It's certainly a Pokemon with stats, but it's not really in high demand at all. Regigigas, same deal. Like, you have to run Weezing. Cresselia's pretty okay. That's gonna be like a... It's C tier. Nah, it's like high D. It does have some things it can do with like Ursaluna, but it's not really like super great. Superior's a D tier. You can do contrary setup, but like you're not going to get away with it for very long. It's very easy to knock out. Its bulk isn't that great. Emboar is just generally bad. And Samurott, both forms. I think F tier for that one, but like D tier for the other one, just because the dark typing is actually a pretty good buff. Along with that, it gets sharpness, so it can hit pretty hard. Okay. Next up is Zebstrika. You were just so bad, bro. Basculin. It doesn't matter what form. Oh, wait, there's other Pokemon. Wait. Zebstrika. Excadrill. If you want to run Sand, go for it. It's not high demand. It's not great. Crocodile. Same deal. It's an Intimidate Mon. Ground isn't a very great typing at the moment. Conk. Conk is actually pretty decent. I've seen it go pretty deep in tournaments, but it's not. It's like a higher D tier, maybe a lower C tier. I'm gonna go D tier though. Wide Guard's pretty decent. Close Combat, Guts. There's a lot going on. All right. Leavanny's quite bad. Quite bad. Whimsicott. You are another A tier. Taunt, Tailwind, Moonblast, Encore. It's got a lot going for it. It's not as good as S, but it is one of the best Pokemon in the metagame right now. Very niche in which archetypes you want to run it over Tornadus, but there are certainly archetypes where you do. So. Like with Miraidon, for example. Alright. Scrafty. It's like a D tier. It's an Intimidate Mon with Fake Out. Who cares? Alright. This is going to be one of those Pokemon that people are freaks about in my comments because they're like weirdly attached to it. Both the Zoroarks are quite bad. The issue with Zoroark is like, yes, you have a Pokemon that can really break someone's ankles. It's like, dude, they don't know what the Zoroark is. The Zoroark can be hidden anywhere, or I could just not bring it. But the downside of that is you're running a Zoroark. What are you going to do? You're going to pretend to be a grass type and then get blown up by the water spout because water spout is dealing 50% to Amoonguss anyways. Like, you know, like they don't care if they have to hit the Amoonguss with a water spout, you know, they're going to hit you and then be like, oh, it was a Zoroark. I got a KO, you know, it doesn't do much. Like that gimmick doesn't carry you that far. I actually should have put it in my bad gimmicks video, but I didn't. That's pretty bad. Gothitelle is actually quite good. I think it's a lot better than people believe it to be. Fake out plus trapping is never going to be bad. So that's going to be like a low C tier. Reuniclus, it's just like it's got good stats. It's got Trick Room. It's going to be D tier. Swanna is just not, it's got nothing. It's got nothing. Sawsbuck, I genuinely forgot you existed, bro. All right, Amoonguss, that is another A tier. Pollen Puff, Rage Powder, Spore, Protect. Those are the only moves you need. Pollen Puff, Rage Powder, Spore, Protect. You can run Sludge Bomb if you really want to like take out like Terra Grass Pokemon or deal some chip damage, or like, you know, deal massive damage to like Rillaboom. But beyond that, that's basically it. Like it's one of the easiest Pokemon to run in the format. And it's just it's good. It's good. It's a good Pokemon. Oh, we skipped over both Lilligans. They're Sleep Powder bots. They're just gonna go D tier. That's Ducklet. That's a Ducklet. All right. Let's see. Almost through Gen 5. Galvantula, you have like Electroweb. That's pretty cool. D tier. Electros. You're pretty bad, bro. You don't do anything in this metagame. I'm sorry. I don't care if you're immune to, if you have no weaknesses. You're pretty bad. You don't have the stats. He's not built for this. Sash Chandelure, pretty decent Trick Room setter. Hard counter to Zamazenta, D tier. Haxorus, it's just got stats, but there's other Pokemon you want to run. It's pretty bad. It's not even fast enough to like really outpace anything that matters. Beartic, there are better Swift Swim Pokemon. There are better Slush Rush Pokemon. You genuinely have no drip. You're going in F tier. Where else? What are we at? Mianxiao. That is going to be a C tier. No, let's go B tier. It's pretty decent. Fake Out, Wide Guard. It's good on Cali Shadow. It's able to annihilate Incineroar. It also has coaching if you really want to. It's got U-turn. It's got Feint. Feint plus Cali Shadow is especially good since you rely so much on your Astral Barrage. You don't want to get Wide Guarded on. So very, very solid in that archetype. All right. I am over time. I wanted to stop the stream by 4 p.m., but we are still going. Gonna be a minute. All right. Golurk, that is just straight up F tier. Let's see. Bisharp, not worth considering anymore that King Gambit exists. Braviary is an F tier mon. Hysterian Braviary, still F tier. They just don't do anything for you in the archetype. They got Tailwind and Defiant and stuff, but not really in high demand. Not really useful. Mandibuzz, that's a D tier. Untauntable Tailwind against Prankster Mons. Really good bulk, Snarl. Genuinely, like, it could make a splash if you really wanted to build a team around it. It could actually be pretty decent. All right, Hydreigon. It's got stats. Nothing else, though, in this metagame. That's D tier. All right. We're at Volcarona. Pretty good Pokemon. That's a C tier. That's a C tier. I mean, you got Rage Powder. It does really well into Zamazenta. Flame Body, Terra Grass, Follow Me, or Terra Grass Rage Powder is like really decent. Cobalion, you are just bad. Drakion, you aren't as bad. You can do like Whimsicott, Rock Slide stuff, but you're not gonna get very far with it. And Virizion, actually one of the worst legendaries ever. All right. Tornadus. That is yet another A tier. It's got Tailwind Taunt, Bleak Windstorm, Rain Dance, what you want, you know, what you want. Like you can get whatever you want out of that guy. Thunderous, that's a C tier. It's not B tier or anything. It's a fine Pokemon. It's just not really something you're looking for at the moment. It was good last year because Bleakwind was really good into like Urshifu and stuff, but with the current format, like there's better options for electric types. Like Raging Bolt exists now, you know. All right. Landorus. That's like a solid Pokemon. It's a B tier. I'm not gonna. Okay, I'll rank them. That's D tier, or that's F tier. I mean, that's probably like D tier. You know, you hit hard, but you're not doing much. And Landorus, that is a solid B tier Pokemon. It's actually just okay. It's like C tier. It's not quite on the level of regular Landorus. Not really needed at the moment. It had its time. Okay, we're up to Gen 5. We're more than halfway done. Next up. Revenant. Trick Room Grass type? Sure. D tier. Where are we? Pyroar, you don't do anything. Holy crap. Alright, Vivillon. I mean, it's just Compound Ice Sleep Powder. You could do like Sash. It's better than anything in F tier. Dragalge, it's pretty bad. Even adaptability doesn't save it. Alright, Florges. If you had Trick Room, you'd be decent. Right now, you're just a special defense monster. You don't hit that hard anyways. Alright. You genuinely really bad. Like you're just Sash Trick Room, if anything. And even then there are better options. You're pretty decent, but like you're just like a wide guard Pokemon, like bottom of D tier. Greninja, not high demand, bottom of D tier. All right. Where are we at? You could make something work with Malamar. It's just like another Trick Room Mon, though. I guess you could absolutely ruin a Zamazenta's day with Topsy Turvy. That's pretty cool. Go-Goat, one of the worst Pokemon ever. I love it though. One of my favorite designs, but not my goat. My goat, but not a goat. Meowstic, it's a prankster Pokemon. Just throw it up there. And if I remember, this one does get prankster, gets competitive. That's just like, yeah, that goes there. All right. Let me think. We are up to Avalugg. Oh, wait, no. We are up to Dedenne. Yeah, you don't do anything. Now we're up to Avalugg. You are also quite bad. You are bulky ice type that doesn't hit hard and is not actually that defensive. All right. Next. Talonflame. You can make it work. It's certainly an option. I've seen it go pretty far in tournament. I think it's better than everything in D tier, but it's definitely not like a high tier pick. I mean, like Gale Wings is one heck of an ability. Same goes to Klefki. I think Klefki is actually quite good, but it's like mediocre. You know. Now we're at Noivern and Hawlucha. Hawlucha, I'm gonna go ahead and throw, you know, F tier. Noivern is another F tier. It's just fast Tailwind. As cool of designs they are, they're not great. Gudra's an F tier. Hisuian Gudra is gonna be like a D tier just because at the very least you have Iron Defense Body Press, but it's not very good. Sylveon. That's gonna be like D tier. It needs help. You can do like Throat Spray Hyper Voice though, and it hits pretty hard. It was better in earlier formats, but not really needed at the moment. All right. Next up, What's this thing's name? Carbink. It's bad. Then we have Toxapex. Yeah, it's got wide guard. That's a D tier automatically with the stats and typing. Salazzle, Fake Out. Yeah, it's not cutting it. That's gonna be F tier. And then we have Toucanon. Doesn't do anything in the metagame. Automatic F tier. Oranguru. It has some swag. Not a lot. D tier. Trick Room plus Instruct is a pretty decent combo, but that's like all it's got going for it. You can also do... I've seen no attack Oranguru cook, though. Like, you put Encore on it as the last move, and it's pretty scary. Because you can Encore into Protect. Alright. Komala. Automatic F tier. Just doesn't do anything. No stats, no moves. Just one pretty okay ability. Zarina. That's going to be like a B tier. It's pretty good on, like, Scarf Kyogre. It's a good Pokemon. It's a good Pokemon. You're able to block priority. You're also a grass type. You're able to deal with the water types that might threaten, like, a partner Incineroar or whatever. So that's pretty good. It also has Triple Axle, which lets it deal with opposing grass types. All right. Passimian F tier. It's just just run freaking Annihilate. It's better Passimian. Komao. It actually does some stuff. It's gonna be a C tier for me. It's not great, but Iron Defense Komao is making a comeback right now. Iron Defense Body Press is quite good. Oh, I skipped Clauncher. Clauncher, yeah. Or Clawitzer, I mean. Mimikyu is pretty decent, but it's not, like, great. I'm gonna say C tier. Like, it's a good Trick Room setter. You got Will-O-Wisp. Palisand. It's F tier. Skipped Alamomola. That's another F tier. If I say, like I said, if it's not ranked, it means it's probably F tier because I just didn't even consider it. All right. Rabombi. No, we're at Oricorio and Minior. Minior is not good. Minior is going directly to F tier. Too much setup. Not enough time in a game this fast. All of the Oricorios are going to go directly to F tier. They have a gimmick, but they're not great. Visually, just note that every Oricorio is there. I'm not going to drag them all there. Like, they all have the same stats. It's just their typing, but it doesn't help them much. They get outclassed regardless. Gumshoes is another F tier. It just doesn't do much in the metagame. Regular, mediocre, normal type. And we're at... all of the Lycanrocs are going to be... I'm going to say that Lycanroc Dusk and Dawn or whatever, or Daytime, are going to be D tier because they have Sash Endeavor and that they can do very well with their speed stat. But the No Guard one, Lycanroc Midnight, that's pretty bad. That's F tier. Now we're at Rabombi. Rabombi, it's F tier. It doesn't do anything. It's got Stun Spore. That's pretty cool. It's got Sticky Web, I guess, but not much. Okay. We are at Charjabug. Interesting Pokemon, not great. Cool that it provides a special attack boost for your team, though. Very cool gimmick. This guy, he hits pretty hard. I can imagine him actually hitting very hard under Trick Room. So I'm going to put him in D tier, not F tier. Because he's got a decent typing. Bug Electric is not a bad typing. Abominable is abominably bad. That's an F tier. Where are we at? We are at the starters. Oh no, we're at Mudsdale. Mudsdale's pretty bad. That's an F tier. I forgot you were in the game, bro. All right. Now we're at the starters. Decidueye is a grass ghost type, but it's not saving it. Fake Out immunity and Spore immunity just isn't enough with the stats that it's got. Same with this guy. He's bad fighting type. It's not doing it. Primarina is actually pretty decent, especially with Throat Spray. It's going to be like a solid D tier. Water Fairy is never going to be that bad. We are at Bruxish and Arachnid. Bruxish has a niche at the very least. I'm going to throw it D tier, and Arachnid I'm actually going to throw decently high. It's actually got, oh, that's a Squovit. Arachnid I'm going to throw decently high. I'm going to say Arachnid is actually a pretty solid C tier Pokemon. Wide Guard, Liquidation, Water Bubble. It's got a lot going for it. It also is a hard counter, not a counter, it's a hard wall to Cali Ice. It will eventually break through, but like resisting everything Cali Ice can do is never going to be bad. Also, it's a good Trick Room Pokemon. It hits really hard. And the burn immunity isn't bad. Comfey. That is a solid C tier. It is almost exclusively ran on Terrapagos teams, because you're able to heal it up very, very reliably. You, I wish you were better. I'm going to put you D. You can get away with Lurantis still pretty easily, but it's not like great. Like if you challenge me to build a Lurantis team, which I might do tomorrow actually, I could do it pretty easily. It's not terrible. Dreadnought, you are dreadful. You rock water type. No need for you to exist, bro. Even if you're cool. Pretty mediocre ground type, or not ground type. Pretty mediocre normal type with belly drum. It's just like worse Snorlax. Barraskewda, it's pretty hard. I'm gonna put it like D tier. We're almost through it. Cramorant. Throat Goat, F tier. We are now at Corviknight. Actually a pretty okay Pokemon. Not super useful though, like top of D tier. Mirror Armor's pretty good. It was better in like Reg F, but like now with restricteds, it's just not really carrying its weight. Steel Flying type's pretty good though. Both the Toxtricities are basically the same. We're gonna throw them in like F tier. They hit hard, right? But like not hard enough, and they're not fast enough. They're also quite frail. Electric Poison's pretty cool, but like that's not helping you with any matchups right now. All right, Alchemy. Decorate is pretty cool, but it's unfortunately outclassed by Smeargle if you want to run Decorate. All right. Caparage. Sorry, Caparage. Just don't got the stats. Not even worth talking about Duraludon anymore because we have Archaludon. Colossal just does not cut it in restricted, guys. It doesn't even cut it in non-restricted now that it lost its Dynamax form. Or its Gigantamax, so... Sandaconda is also quite bad, even though it's one of my favorite Pokemon in Gen 8. Doesn't do anything. There are better ground types. If it got, I think Sandaconda should get Arena Trap. I think that would actually make it pretty okay. Morpeko, that is a D tier just because it gets Fake Out, but it's not great. It's a Fake Out Electric type, you know, Pikachu clone. Indeedee Male is gonna be a D tier from me. Not much of a need for it when Indeedee Female exists. Who run the world? Girls. Who run the world? Girls. Who run this mother F? You're going to be an A tier. Indeedee Female is one of the best Pokemon in the game at the moment. Fake Out blocker because of terrain. Normal makes it immune to ghost types. It has Follow Me. It has Trick Room. It has Helping Hand. They gave it Trick Room by accident, by the way. That was a glitch, and they just let it happen. They were like, yeah, just keep it, bro. So, yeah. Oh, I skipped Phalanx. Yeah, that's an F. Phalanx is an F tier. Yeah, it's only really got one thing going for it, and it's no retreat, and that's not doing much. Okay. Frostmoth. Oh, wait, Berserker. That's an F tier. I don't care if you run it with Golden Go. It's not good. Frostmoth, that is another F tier. Like, it's a ice bug type that takes half damage from setup moves. You can Quiver Dance, but, like, the setup isn't really worth it when you still get two-shot. All right, Inteleon's gonna be that's like an F tier for me. There's so many better water types, but I guess you can do like Sash Snipe Shot if you really want to. Cinderace, that's gonna be a D tier only because I'm pretty sure it gets coaching and like U-turn, U-turn, high jump kick, Pyro Ball. It's a decently hard hitter, like with a clear amulet. I could see it doing something, but it's just not great right now. All right, Grimmsnarl, that is gonna be an A tier from me, maybe B tier. I'm gonna put him B tier, like top of B tier. It's really good, but it's not quite a top tier. It's got Fake Out, it's got dual screens, it's got Thunder Wave. I think it's gonna end up being really good at Worlds, but right now, based on its performance, it's still just it's solid. It's one of the better ones, but it's not like the top. Okay. Flapple, that's such a bad Pokemon. Appleton, hey man, I love you. I have a plush of you. My cat sleeps on one of them. It's back there. If I can get it in frame. Right there. There's the Appleton plush. Is my cat sleeping on it? No, it's sleeping behind it. Not a good Pokemon. I don't care what you do with it. It doesn't work. Hatterene, pretty decent. It does require a lot of support though. I'm gonna put Hatterene at like lowest C tier I could imagine. The very lowest C tier. Not really D. Just because Magic Bounce, Trick Room, and like Expanding Force, it can do stuff. Okay. Sinus T. I forgot you exist because Sinus Shell's just better. You're F tier. You don't really do much. You can do like Shell Smash, but that's it. I wish you were good. You do get Wide Guard. We could probably make it work if I wanted to, but it's not really worth considering. All right. Pincurchin. I mean, you can make it work if you really wanted to. D tier, whatever. Electric Train's a heck of an ability, you know? Or Electric Surge. Ice Cube's pretty bad. I mean, the only gimmick it has is like the Explosion plus Belly Drum set. Explosion next to it, because you get like, you know, KOs and then free setup. Dragapult, decent Pokemon, like top of D tier. Not like a great Pokemon anymore. It was better in previous formats. We are at... Glacier and Spectrier. Glacier is like a pretty okay Trick Room Pokemon, not in high demand. Spectrier is a stat monster. We'll also put it right next to it in D tier. It's not great. Better in previous formats, obviously. But now you just run like their upgraded versions. All right, Regieleki, that's gonna be... That's a mediocre Pokemon. It's not quite C tier. It's like one of the better D tier, or yeah, it's one of the better ones there. Next we have Regidrago, actually a pretty decent Pokemon. Actually pretty decent. It's gonna be like C tier, like somewhere in the middle of C tier. Pairs really well with Zacian. It has pretty decent results, and it's never a Pokemon that you want to get paired into because you're always a little concerned. Unless you're running Terra Fairy Tinglu, then you don't care. All right. Weird Ear, it's so bad. I wish it was good. Intimidate's kind of cool though. Trick Room Setter. If it had a better signature move, it'd be pretty decent. Cleavor, that's still like an F tier. It's not really worth considering, but I suppose Sash, you could make it work. Like Sash, Sharpness, Stealth Rock move, Stone Axe is what it's called. Yeah, we'll put it like bottom of D. You can maybe make it work. I hate this guy. I think he's annoying. I think he's gonna be like top of D tier. Just because like fake out Dire Claw, Electric Seed, Psychic Seed, whatever. Scary. Where there's a Dire Claw, there's a way. Enamorus, base Enamorus is like D tier mediocre. You do like superpower stuff. I think that this Enamorus is actually pretty underexplored. I'm gonna put it like, yeah, I'm still gonna put it in D tier. Actually, no, I think it is actually a C tier. I think that like a lot of people need to explore it, but the issue is it's so inaccessible because like 0 speed's what you want on it, so you underspeed like Calyrex Ice and stuff, but you have to gen it to get it because you're not playing through Pokemon Legends Arceus approximately 31 times to find the one that you need. So yeah, but it hits very hard. Very good Trick Room on. You're actually pretty decent. It's a pretty good Pokemon. Not great. I'm gonna put it like C tier. Intimidate, Prankster Immunity, Stab, Gunk Shot, Basket Legion Male. I'm gonna put okay, and Basket Legion Female. I'm gonna put a little worse than that, just because it doesn't get like Wave Crash and Last Respects with maximum damage because it's a special attacker instead. All right, where are we at? All right, Generation 9, last stretch. Regular Ursaluna is still quite good, especially on Trick Room. I'm gonna put it at solid, and I think Blood Moon Ursaluna is gonna be in the same spot, just because they feel like the same role, just special or physical attacker. I think they're both very solid. All right. I like how long it takes to scroll down now. As for the starters, I mean, The Gen 9 starters are never going to be that bad. I think that they're all about D tier. Except for you're actually pretty hard to get going, especially with Urshifu in the metagame. It's just there's a better version of you. All right. Unfortunately, cursed by Urshifu. We are at Oinkalone. These are both F tier. They don't do anything. I'm not going to rank both forms though, even though they have slight differences. Same with the Dunsparce. It's not cutting it. You have Serene Grace and like some better stats, but it's not really doing much for your team. Spidops, that's another F tier. So much of Gen 9 is so bad. Like the early decks in Gen 9 is so low powered. Surprisingly low powered. Actually, low kicks is pretty decent. I'm gonna go ahead and throw them in D tier, just because like you have Tinted Lens, First Impression, Sucker Punch. It's always gonna hit hard, especially with a Life Orb, but it's not like a top tier. Next up, we have Rabska. Definitely a D tier Trick Room setter with access to Revival Blessing. Not a great Pokemon though. We are at Wugtrio. One of the worst Pokemon ever made. Literally does nothing for a team. Does not hit hard. It is like budget Urshifu, but like it's budget Urshifu. It's the Wish.com of Wish.com Urshifus. And like it provides nothing for a team. Dondozo. This is a hard one to rank. I think Dondozo's okay. It's not like the best Pokemon, and by virtue, Tatsugiri is going to be okay. Dondozo's not in the best place in the metagame right now because there's so much power that it doesn't matter if Dondozo gets +2. It will still get like 2 or 3 shot by things. When the metagame had lower power, it was easier for Dondozo to survive long enough to get its job done, but now it's a lot harder to end game. That being said, Miraidon Dondozo teams do exist. You know, there are like Calyrex Dondozo teams. There's a few ways to run it, but it's not like the best. Greavard and not Greavard, what's your name? Houndstone. I wish Houndstone was good. That's a solid D tier pick. You have to run it on sand, but it's good into Zamazenta. It's actually just a straight up Zamazenta counter, so it's never going to be lower than D. Spothra is like D. It's got speed boost and like pounce for like cool speed control stuff, but and like Lumina Crash to combo with other stuff, but it's not like a phenomenal Pokemon. Farigiraf, that is going to be another ding 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 A tier. That is a top tier Pokemon. It has a few sets: Electric Seed, Terra Ground Foul Play. It's got Terra Dark Foul Play as well. Hyper Voice, Throat Spray, blocking priority, being immune to Cali Shadow. This is a phenomenal Pokemon. It's never gonna be bad. They're not ranked within the tiers, but I would say like there. If I had to put it anywhere, it'd be like just below a top tier. I guarantee you it's gonna go very, very hard at Worlds. Like once you start using it, it's actually really hard to stop. It's so hard to play when you don't have it after you've given it up. Veluza is just like one of the worst Pokemon ever made. Doesn't do anything. That's gonna be. Oh, I lost it. There you go. Whoop. Like F tier. Palafin. How the mighty have fallen. Palafin is going to be a D tier. Yeah, it's like top of D tier. It's still Palafin, but like there's no reason to not run Urshifu, dog. Like it's so much better. No need to switch. Still busted stats. Hits through Protect, doesn't care about Intimidate. Broken Pokemon. Arboliva is pretty bad. Scovillain, it can do Spicy Extract. Not great. Also got Chlorophyll, pretty sure. If it had Sleep Powder, it'd be pretty good. I can tell you that. All right. We are at Belly Bolt. It's not good. It's just run Raging Bolt. Raging Bolt has better stats across the board. All right, Cyclizar. That's another not very good Pokemon. That's like an F tier. Shed Tail's interesting, but like there's no reason to set up a Shed Tail when you can just hit things. Probably better in previous formats, even if it didn't do anything in any of the other formats. It was definitely better back then. Reverum. Where'd they go wrong with the Poison Steel type? First Poison Steel type, and it's got garbage stats and nothing going for it. All right. I think that Baxcalibur is actually quite decent. it's going to be like a top of D tier Pokemon. I think it can actually go pretty deep at Worlds if someone decides to run it. It's got a good typing. It's got a good matchup into a lot of things. Glaive Rush is a broken move, especially when you combo it with Ice Shard, so you don't have to deal with any of the repercussions. So it's a good Pokemon, definitely. All right, Pawmot. That's like bottom of C. It's got Fake Out, Revival Blessing. It's an electric type. It can do work. It's just it's very slept on at the moment. Probably good on Miraidon teams. All right, Kilowattrel. That's like D tier. It's a fast Tailwinder. Cool ability. Wind Power is pretty interesting, especially Wind Power Electro Ball. You're not great, but you're not bad. You're not as bad as the rest of these guys, so D tier for sure. Where are we at? We are at Mousehold. Mousehold's interesting. I don't think Mousehold's ever going to be lower than like D tier, like high D tier. It's a friend guard Pokemon. You have Follow Me. You have a bunch of cool stuff you can do. It even has Taunt and Super Fang. Very cool utility Pokemon that when it first released, I thought would be garbage. And then I looked at the abilities and moves and I'm like, yeah, that guy cooks. Garganacl, I think, is actually unironically like a low C tier, very high D tier Pokemon. And that's because it has Wide Guard. It's got a resistance to ghost moves because of its ability. It can't be statused. And Salt Cure, as risky as it is to click, because you're mostly just going to be wanting to click like Protect and like Wide Guard, it's going to be worth it. I think you can make it work. I just don't know what restricted to pair with. It's got all the tools it needs to succeed, just not the typing. And maybe it'll find the partner soon. Bombardier. Garbage. Not even going to elaborate. Glamora is niche, but quite strong. It's going to be like a low C tier. You can make it work with like Dondozo Miraidon. But it's not like the best. Flamigo, it's really bad, but like there are gimmicks, so it's going to be D tier. There are gimmicks you can run it with. All right. We are at... Forgot you existed, bro. Yeah, you're really bad. You're F tier. You're also quite bad. Anger Shell is not Shell Smash. It is worse. It is built-in Shell Smash, but much harder to pop. Golden Go, quite good. Not the best. Really nice if you have a big Zamazenta weakness. You can just have an auto win into that if you like manage to get rid of like the Incineroar. All right. Finally at the paradoxes. Great Tusk has stats, but nothing going for it in the metagame, so it's going to be a D tier. Same with Brute Bungus. Exact same situation. Stats, but nothing really going for it. You're probably okay, but you're still D tier. Most of the paradoxes, I think, are D tier in this format, except for a couple of exceptions that we'll get to. Yeah, you're also D tier. Maybe even F. Like, you don't do much. Okay. Fluttermane. Oh, no. Sorry. Screamtail. A more interesting thing to talk about. I think Screamtail is B tier. It's got a lot going for it. I mean, it's got Encore Disable. Obviously, that's never going to be bad. It also has Perish Song. And, like, even though, like, we have Prankster, Tailwind stuff, and, like, Taunt users, you can still Terra Dark, and this guy becomes, like, super difficult to deal with. I don't think it's ever going to be below B tier. You can make the case for, like, C tier. I'll put it in C tier. Yeah, I'll put it in C tier. But, yeah. It's still quite good. All right. Next. Forgot Grafai. And, yeah, Grafai is pretty bad. I also forgot about... Where are you? Mightyena 2. Yeah, you're bad. Okay. So. Oh, and I forgot about Bramblegast. I'm forgetting so many. Bramblegast actually kind of cooks. It's like a D tier. Tailwind hits hard. Did I miss Toad School? Okay, he's at the end. Fluttermane, that is going to be another A tier. Very solid Pokemon. Booster Energy still quite good. It's not S tier anymore. The metagame isn't really like centralized around it. It's no longer omnipresent, but like Icy Wind plus Booster Energy, Icy Wind plus Sash plus Orichalcum Pulse, it means it's going to be really good speed control. It now usually runs Taunt in a bulkier set, and it still hits very hard with Terra Fairy Moonblast. It's a top tier for sure. Same with Chi-Yu. It's what can we say about Chi Yu? He's Chi Yu. He hits hard. You can make the case for B tier. I'm gonna keep it in A tier though. I think it's very solid in this moment. Slitherwing, that I'm sorry, buddy. That's an F tier. You don't have anything going for you in any format ever. I think that this guy's actually a little slept on. I think that you can run him similar to how people are running Booster Energy Iron Jugulus, only that this is like a Booster Energy knockoff, which is arguably a little better in some situations, even if your typing is much weaker into fairies. So I'm gonna keep him there. You are quite bad. You are extremely bad. This one's actually pretty niche. I'm going to go ahead and throw this one in D tier. I think it could work pretty well with Miraidon, like Acid Spray plus like Discharge or whatever. Iron Hands. That is going to be another... I'm stuck between B and A tier. I'm going to throw it in A tier. I actually think that it's... I think that AV Iron Hands or even Clearing Iron Hands is always going to be pretty good. Especially right now with Miraidon being a thing. And like it's decent matchup into Kali Ice. It's able to tank those hits super well because of its typing and also just pretty well into Urshifu. It's never gonna be bad. I think that like you can make the case for top of B tier, but I think it's definitely just bottom of A tier. It's just, it has everything going for it. Brian Hands is undefeated. You are gonna go in B tier. Very solid option. Tailwind, Snarl, Rain Dance if you really want to, Hurricane. Really good Kyogre partner. All right. Brian Thorns. No drip, no swag, F tier. No purpose. I think that Iron Bundle is definitely a C tier mon. Encore, Sash, Booster Energy. It's got a lot going for it. Freeze Dried, Icy Wind, good speed control mon. It's pretty hard too. Iron Valiant is going to be a D tier for me. It's not bad. It's got Wide Guard and it hits pretty hard, but like that's basically it. Like you kind of have to run it with Booster. And it's like, there's a couple Pokemon that do the job better. Ting Lu is going to be a C tier for me. It definitely has some swag on, you know, Calyrex team, but it's like not the best. I think Chen Pao is A tier because it's Chen Pao. It's got Sword of Ruin, Icicle Crash, Ice Spinner, Sucker Punch. Like it hits like a truck. It enables Zamazenta to do so much better. It's good. Wo-Chen, little Wo-Chenito is going to be a solid C tier for me as well. It's pretty decent. Like it used to be a lot worse. Pollen Puff with Kyogre is like the only thing that's really getting run on, but I think that like Wo-Chen next to any special attacker is going to be a pretty solid choice nowadays, just because of like what the metagame is looking like. There's a lot of great physical attackers, there's a lot of great special attackers. Preventing that physical attack from really getting going with like Urshifu and a bunch of other mons that don't really care about like attack drops from Intimidate is really nice. And also just like, you know, Snarl, a bunch of stuff. Thanks for the sub, Improved Boar. IDK if you have alerts turned on, but in case you missed Bread Dog and Ice Whale. Oh, I did miss that. Also, Len, thank you so much for the raid. Appreciate you. I did miss Bread Dog and Ice Whale. Let me take care of Bread Dog and Ice Whale really quick. So Bread Dog, I think Bread Dog is quite bad. Bread Dog is definitely an F tier. It's a gimmick mon, but not a gimmick that works in the current format since you have to run like Lava Plume and stuff. It's just very, very bad. Ice Whale, same deal. It's like a Slush Rush user, and it's like, are you really running Snow and not Kyurem right now? Like you're not running Snow for Satitan. It's just not doing it. Okay, where are we at? Tinkaton. Tinkaton, ironically, not the worst Pokemon ever. I think it's actually a lot better than a lot of the stuff in D tier, almost exclusively for one purpose. It's just Mold Breaker Fake Out. I'm going to keep it in D tier because I don't think it's as good as these guys, but it's definitely better than most of what we have here in D tier. Mold Breaker Fake Out, Gigaton Hammer, Knockoff, Thunder Wave. Like it can do stuff, but it's not like a phenomenal Pokemon. Okay. Next up, we have Armarouge. Armarouge is never going to be lower than like a D tier Pokemon, in my opinion. I don't think it's as good now because Psyspam isn't like the best. I think it's going to remain like higher D tier just because you have like Wide Guard, you have like Expanding Force, Armor Cannon, but like it's not in high demand, so it's not like phenomenal. Ceruledge is in a similar spot. It's like lower D tier, you know, it's good into like Zamazenta, I guess. Next up, Toedscruel. Who invited you? Who invited you, bro? Hold on. Take care of you. All right. Let's scroll F tier. King Gambit, not the worst. I mean, like it's a scary mon to see on preview because I feel like people aren't prepared for it anymore. I want to put it in like C, even though you don't see it too much. But like, if you think about it, like, have you ever seen a King Gambit and felt comfortable with the matchup? Not really, but it's not as bad as anything in D. But it's not really that good either anymore. You're gonna go F tier. You just don't do much this format. Annihilate's pretty interesting. It's mostly used nowadays for, I'm gonna put it in C tier, by the way. It's mostly used nowadays for like Scarf coaching plus clear Amulet Calyrex Ice and like Final Gambit plus Trick Room. And that's basically it. So, you know, he's just sitting there. He's just sitting there. He's got one job. Got one job. All right. Next up. Ogerpon Grass. This is the only Ogerpon that can run an item. I don't want to put it in D tier. I think that like it's a C tier mon. Like I feel like all the Ogerpon except for Cornerstone are like C tier at the moment. Actually, I think all the Ogerpon are like B tier. It's hard to make a case against Ogerpon. It's really hard to make a case against Ogerpon right now, because like regardless of what you run it for, regardless of what form it runs, it's still going to be a grass type with Follow Me, and that's pretty decent. I think that you can make the case for Cornerstone in A. You can make the case for Cornerstone in A, really. Just because I don't know what this is going to be an opinion thing. Chat, do you think Cornerstone's A tier? Sturdy plus Follow Me enables so many archetypes to play how they need to play. Like it's basically guaranteed Trick Room. You're able to go for a bonk on whatever you need to with a 100% accurate rock move with a high crit chance. Yeah, I think it's A tier. Yeah, it's definitely the best of all of them. Like if it were any lower than A tier, it'd be the best in B tier. So we'll put A tier. All right. Next up, Hydrapple. It's interesting. It's not great. It's like a D tier mon. There's not really much to cover there. Okidogi. This is a really interesting mon to cover right now because I feel like Okidogi hasn't had any results, but also because no one's really tried to run him. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that it's probably a C tier Pokemon. With the amount of Incineroar running around, Okidogi's always going to be able to get its boost. It has access to Knockoff, Gunk Shot. It's a pretty bulky Pokemon. You can Drain Punch with it with like Assault Vest, and it has a pretty decent like Kyogre matchup. I don't think it's going to be any lower than C. I think Okidogi's fine. It's not like D, you know? Speaking of D tier, you have Fake Out and you hit really hard, but like you're not very strong. Like you don't do anything besides that. And like Pheasantipity, I have to put F tier. I want to put it like lowest, like the lowest D tier possible, but I feel like that's irresponsible to give people hope. This guy is interesting. Gouging Fire at the beginning of the format would be run with a couple of Pokemon. You would see it with Zacian, you would see it with Groudon, but it's effectively fallen off the face of the earth. That being said, I still think that those archetypes can function if you are able to like optimize them for what's going on in the current metagame. But Groudon and Zacian, its main partners, aren't that great right now. They're okay, like but they're not like great Pokemon. So for that reason, Gouging Fire just doesn't exist anymore. But even then, like a lot of those teams didn't opt for Gouging Fire despite all that. Raging Bolt, that's an S tier. I forgot to put you in S tier. You are not A tier, you are S tier. I tried to get all the S tiers out of the way before we even started, but Raging Bolt is actually just another restricted. And I like, this is a meme, but like this is just kind of true as well. If we look at Raging Bolt and we look at Lunala, keep in mind, Raging Bolt doesn't care much about its speed stat because Raging Bolt has a priority move, right? And that's its best move. 137 HP, 125 HP, 113 attack, 73 attack. These stats are wasted on Lunala. The 113 attack and the speed are kind of wasted. It doesn't really matter. It's everything else. It's the bulk. 91 defense, 89 defense, 89 special defense, 107 special defense, 137 special attack. Raging Bolt is everything but a restricted. It can run Booster Energy Terra Electric. It can run Assault Vest like Terra Fairy. Thunderbolt hits like a truck. Thunderclap hits like a truck if you have like the Terra or the booster active. You can run Dragon Pulse or Draco Meteor, and like the last move is either Protect or like Snarl, depending on what your item is. Like this mon's ridiculous. It has good matchups into Koradon, Groudon, Zacian, because you can Terra Electric and now you don't care anymore. Calyrex Shadow if you're running like AV Snarl, obviously. Calyrex Ice is questionable. You have to like Terra versus that. But if you're Terra Electric, you can two-shot it with like Terra Electric Thunderbolt into Thunderclap if you get like the rolls. So like it's a good Pokemon, dude. Like it is the probably like better than Rillaboom. I think if I had to rank them, it'd go like this. I think these are the best 3 in the format, like in this order, and then like Rillaboom. All right. And now we get to the disappointments. You hit hard, but like Psy-Spam isn't that good. I'm gonna put you like top of D tier-ish. Iron Boulder is in a similar spot. It's like D tier. It hits hard, it doesn't do anything. And then you're actually pretty decent. You went pretty far in VR Tour. I think it's like a C tier pick. Not great, but like not bad. So yeah, I mean, like next to Kyogre, you're really good. Defensively, you cover it very well. And you have access to Electro Shot, which is just kind of a busted move. And sure, I'm going to be generous with you just because you heal things. Someone will find a way to make you annoying. There you go. Okay. All right. Iron Boulder doesn't even hit hard. You're right. So this is the list. This is the tier list for non-restricted Pokemon in VGC 2024 Regulation G. Took me a long time. There are certainly, somewhere in here, there's Pokemon that I forgot to rank. Just know that if I forgot to rank them, it's because they're not that good. Probably. Anyways, that is all for today. Thank you all for watching. If you're watching this on YouTube, leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.